chilling night of Halloween, Sarah, a young woman with a penchant for horror movies, found herself immersed in the eerie glow of her living room. The flickering light of the television cast shadows that danced in rhythm with the suspenseful scenes playing out on the screen. As she settled into her favorite armchair, popcorn in hand, little did she know that the true terror of the night awaited her beyond the confines of the movie. The clock struck midnight, signaling the witching hour, as Sarah delved into a particularly spine-chilling movie. The haunted mansion, the ominous whispers, and the supernatural occurrences sent shivers down her spine. Unbeknownst to her, the line between fiction and reality was about to blur in the most unsettling way. As the tension in the movie reached its peak, a sudden knock echoed through Sarah's apartment. Startled, she paused the movie and strained to listen. Another knock, louder this time, resonated through the silent room. A sense of unease crept over her as she hesitated by the door, contemplating whether to investigate or dismiss it as a figment of her imagination. Summoning her courage, Sarah cautiously approached the door. Through the peephole, she saw nothing but the dimly lit hallway outside. Convinced it was a prank or a trick of the imagination, she sighed in relief. However, as she turned to retreat, a chilling voice whispered her name, softly at first, then growing in intensity. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end. She turned back to the door, her eyes widening with dread. The knocks persisted, now rhythmic and deliberate, as if beckoning her to unlock the barrier between her apartment and the unknown. Fear gripped her heart, but curiosity overpowered reason. With trembling hands, Sarah cautiously unlocked the door. A gust of cold wind swept through the doorway, extinguishing the candles that adorned her living room. The television flickered and died, plunging the apartment into darkness. As Sarah stood at the threshold, she felt a presence, a shadowy figure standing just beyond her sight. The knocks ceased, replaced by an otherworldly silence. In that moment, the boundary between the movie's fictional horrors and the reality of Sarah's apartment blurred completely. The room was enveloped in an ominous stillness, until with a sudden jolt, the lights flickered back to life. Sarah found herself alone, the knocks replaced by the distant howl of the wind. The once ominous hallway was now empty. Haunted by the inexplicable events of that Halloween night, Sarah hesitated to return to her movie. The line between reality and the supernatural had been crossed, leaving her questioning the true source of the mysterious knocks and the lingering whispers that echoed in the corridors of her mind. The room, now bathed in an unsettling silence, held a lingering tension that refused to dissipate. Sarah, torn between the rational and the supernatural, cautiously resumed her seat. As she pressed play on the remote, the movie's eerie soundtrack echoed through the apartment, serving as a disconcerting backdrop to the events that had just transpired. As the plot unfolded on the screen, Sarah's gaze darted nervously between the fictional horrors and the dimly lit corners of her living room. The movie seemed to take on a new layer of dread, each suspenseful twist and turn mirroring the uncanny events that had unfolded in her own home. As the climax of the movie approached, the knocks returned, this time more insistent and demanding. Sarah, now trembling with a mixture of fear and curiosity, found herself drawn back to the door. The hallway outside was cloaked in darkness, concealing whatever presence lurked in the shadows. Summoning her courage once more, Sarah opened the door to confront the unknown. The hallway, eerily silent, revealed no trace of the mysterious figure. Yet, as she peered into the inky blackness, a whisper reached her ears, a haunting murmur that seemed to emanate from the very walls of her apartment. "Sarah, why did you pause the movie? We were enjoying it together." The voice, chilling in its familiarity, echoed through the hallway. Sarah, paralyzed by a mixture of fear and disbelief, struggled to comprehend the surreal nature of the situation. The movie, now playing in the background, seemed to synchronize with the whispers, creating a disconcerting symphony of terror. With each step she took, the voice grew louder, the whispers transforming into a chorus of unsettling laughter. Sarah, determined to unravel the mystery, followed the sound through the labyrinthine corridors of her apartment. The walls seemed to close in on her as she delved deeper into the inexplicable realm that had manifested within her home. In the heart of the darkness, Sarah discovered a hidden door, a portal to a dimension that transcended the boundaries of her understanding. With trepidation, she pushed the door ajar, revealing a surreal landscape that mirrored the haunted scenes from the movie. As she stepped through the threshold, the whispers ceased, replaced by an overwhelming silence. The apartment, once familiar, now existed on the fringe of reality and the supernatural. Sarah, caught between the realms of fiction and the unexplained, embarked on a journey to uncover the truth behind the whispers and the mysterious presence that had invaded her life. The door swung shut behind her, leaving the apartment in an otherworldly stillness. The movie continued to play, its soundtrack echoing through the empty rooms, a haunting reminder of the thin veil that separated the ordinary from the supernatural. In the realm beyond the hidden door, Sarah confronted the enigma that had intertwined her fate with the horrors of the movie. The whispers persisted, guiding her through a labyrinth of mysteries that defied explanation. The line between reality and the supernatural blurred further, leaving Sarah to navigate the shadows of her own fears. The flickering candlelight danced on the tiles of the dimly lit bathroom as Mia reclined in the warm embrace of her bath. The soothing lavender-scented bubbles enveloped her, casting a tranquil atmosphere that belied the ominous events about to unfold. As Mia closed her eyes, savoring the tranquility of the moment, she remained oblivious to the encroaching darkness that lingered just beyond the edge of perception. Unbeknownst to her, shadows began to pool in the corners of the room, coalescing into a sinister presence that awaited the opportune moment to reveal itself. The rhythmic sound of water droplets echoed in the silent room, punctuating the stillness. Unseen eyes observed Mia from the shadows, fixated on the vulnerability that accompanied her blissful soak. As the room plunged into an eerie silence, the flickering candle seemed to falter, casting elongated shadows that danced malevolently across the walls. Without warning, a chill swept through the room, causing Mia to shiver involuntarily. The water's surface rippled, a subtle distortion that hinted at an unseen intrusion. As Mia reached for the soap, a sudden, inexplicable force seized her by the shoulders, pulling her back into the tub. Her eyes widened in terror as the shower curtain, once a protective barrier, became a veil concealing the malevolent presence that lurked behind. A skeletal hand emerged, fingers gnarled and dripping with an otherworldly chill. With a grotesque determination, the spectral hand pushed Mia's head beneath the water's surface. The bathwater, once a source of comfort, transformed into a suffocating abyss. Mia struggled against the unseen assailant, her muffled cries drowned by the relentless force that held her submerged. Panic gripped her as the air within her lungs dwindled, and the line between the corporeal and the supernatural blurred. In the throes of desperation, Mia's hands clawed at the shower curtain, attempting to break free from the unseen grip that sought to claim her. The room resonated with a malevolent energy as the shadows deepened, shrouding the grotesque tableau in an oppressive darkness. Just as Mia felt her strength wane and the world around her blur, the spectral hand released its grip. Gasping for breath, she emerged from the water, her eyes wide with terror. The room, now devoid of the ominous presence, returned to a semblance of normalcy. As Mia clambered out of the bath, she cast a fearful glance at the shower curtain, half expecting the skeletal hand to reappear. The echoes of the supernatural assault lingered in the air, leaving her to grapple with the unsettling question of what malevolent force had sought to drag her into the abyss. The bathroom, once a sanctuary, now bore the indelible mark of the supernatural. Mia, shaken and haunted by the ordeal, wrapped herself in a towel, contemplating the unfathomable depths that lurked behind the mundane facade of her daily life. Mia's heart raced as she hastily exited the bathroom, leaving behind the enigmatic shadows that had threatened to consume her. Clutching her towel tightly, she tiptoed down the hallway, acutely aware of the eerie quiet that hung in the air. The house, once a haven, now seemed fraught with unseen dangers. As Mia reached her bedroom, she hesitated before closing the door, casting a wary glance back down the corridor. The unsettling feeling of being watched persisted, amplifying the mysterious aura that surrounded her. Determined to shake off the residual fear, Mia opted for the comforting glow of her bedside lamp. The soft illumination created a barrier against the encroaching darkness, revealing a room seemingly untouched by the supernatural forces that lurked beyond. However, as Mia settled into the safety of her bed, an unsettling revelation dawned upon her. the voice that had whispered from the drain, the spectral hand that sought to drown her. These were not isolated incidents. A malevolent presence had woven itself into the fabric of her home, and its intentions remained shrouded in ominous secrecy. As the night wore on, Mia found herself unable to escape the persistent feeling of being observed. Each creak of the floorboards, every subtle shift in the shadows, fueled her paranoia. The once familiar contours of her room now concealed unseen entities, leaving her to question the boundaries between reality and the supernatural. Sleep eluded her, for the darkness seemed to harbor secrets that defied comprehension. The minutes stretched into an eternity, marked by the distant howl of the wind and the faint rustling of leaves outside her window. In the quietude of the night, Mia's senses heightened, attuned to the spectral symphony that unfolded around her. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, Mia's wearied eyes surveyed the room, searching for any lingering traces of the supernatural. The oppressive atmosphere had waned, yet an unsettling residue clung to the air, a reminder that the events of the night were not mere figments of her imagination. With trepidation, Mia descended the staircase, retracing the path of her nocturnal ordeal. The bathroom, now bathed in the soft glow of morning light, appeared deceptively ordinary. The shower curtain hung innocently, concealing the secrets of the previous night. As Mia approached the mirror, she caught a glimpse of her own reflection, a visage marked by the echoes of fear and uncertainty. The events of the night had etched themselves into her psyche, leaving her with an unsettling awareness of the supernatural forces that dwelled within the mundane corners of her existence. The day unfolded with an uneasy calm, as Mia grappled with the inexplicable events that had transpired. The house, once a sanctuary, now harbored an enigma that defied rational explanation. The supernatural tendrils that had woven themselves into her reality left Mia with a haunting realization. Some mysteries were best left untouched, lest they unravel the fabric of the ordinary and expose the ominous unknown that lurked within.